The seasons come and go like thoughts of you, like a wave returns to the sea into the blue. They change but in a cycle that I can't lose. Each painful but delightful to live through. You came into my life just like another season. Not for long, just a time, just like another season. Maybe this time next year you'll reappear for no reason, but I'll cherish every day until you come my way this season. The seasons turn and change just like your mind. Like the sun gives into the moon, into the night. Time continues marching, it slowly crawls. With each new one starting, I recall. You came into my life just like another season. Not for long, just a time, just like another season. Maybe this time next year you'll reappear for no reason, but I'll cherish every day until you come my way this season.
no way.
Come on, guys. I said good afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon.
Yes. How are you guys feeling today? Fine, good. I'm glad you guys are doing fine. So welcome here into Volendam, everybody. Welcome here into our beautiful cheese factory. My name is Julian, and today I will explain to you guys how we make our homemade Gouda cheese. So, the actual process, everybody, starts inside this container, because every morning the farmer adds 400 liters of raw fresh cow milk to the container. Then he's going to warm the milk up until it's 30 degrees Celsius. After our milk has been warmed up and it's nice and warm, we can add this natural enzyme to the milk, which we call rennet. The rennet will make the milk thick, and in other words curdle, and once our milk is nice and thick, we are able to cut it with these rotating knives. So we cut it with these knives for about 2 hours straight, and after those 2 hours are over, your milk will start to split up in 2 separate parts. So, as you guys can see, we have a watery liquid part at the bottom of the jar, and at the top of the jar we have these harder white bits. The liquid watery part is called the whey, and at the top these harder white bits are called the curds, from the curdle of course. First of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about the whey, about the watery part, because it is a very healthy byproduct of making cheese. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of whey protein powder before. Probably yes, right? So the whey protein powder gets made from the whey. Whey contains a lot of vitamin and a lot of protein, which is also the main reason why we don't throw the whey away, but we give it to the animals instead, because they love to drink it, and again, because of the vitamin and the protein in there, it'll also improve the quality of the cheese in the future if they would drink this. Also, a very fun fact is that the people from Volendam, you may have noticed this as well, that they are very beautiful. They have a beautiful smooth skin, beautiful blonde hair, blue eyes, and I was wondering how come they be so beautiful, right? So of course I started to ask them a couple of questions, and they told me their secret. They explained to me, Julian, if you would drink 1 glass of the whey per day, it'll keep all of your wrinkles away. Sounds very interesting, of course, so I started drinking the whey myself as well. And that was about a year ago, guys. And let me tell you that it works amazing, because I'm 83 years old right now. And you can see all of the wrinkles, they disappeared from my face. So it really works. But back to these curds, I told you earlier about them, right? The harder bits at the top of the jar. These are going to be our future cheese. So for now we separate the whey from the curds, and all of the curds, they go into this little pressing bowl I got right here. This pressing bowl contains out of 4 separate parts. First of all, we have the lid, of course. It has a little strainer sitting on the inside. It has this bowl to keep everything in place. And last but not least, at the bottom of our strainer is this little sticker. This sticker contains all the information on your cheese, and it will eventually be your license of making cheese. At your final product, it will look like this, so as a black stamp or sticker at the bottom. And like I said, it contains all the information on your cheese as well. For example, the serial number, name of the farmer, name of the recipe, and the amount of fats that has been used to make your cheese. But for now, we have our bowl filled up with the curds, and of course our sticker at the bottom, which is very important. And now we are going to take all these bowls to this machine behind me. This machine is called the pressing machine, and like the name already tells you guys, it'll press down very hard onto these bowls for about 2 hours straight. And that's because the curds will need to form a shape in a very nice round cheese ball, and that's what the machine does. So, after those 2 hours are over, we take the strainers with the curds inside of them out of the bowls, and we take them to the bath to the right side of me. This bath right here is called the salt bath, and it exists for 80% out of water and 20% out of salt. The reason why we put our cheeses in there is to add protection and flavor to our cheeses. We leave them in there for about 1 day, and halfway through, so at the 12-hour mark, we flip our cheeses over. And that's because both sides need to be filled up with the salty flavor, of course. So, after the 1 day is over of sitting in the salt bath, we take the cheeses out of their strainers, and we leave them on the wooden shelf above the salt bath to dry. That takes about 2 days, and after those 2 days are over, we take our wax, and we put the wax layer around the cheese, and that will protect your cheese from getting any bacteria, molds, or other infections on there, which we of course don't want to have. So now everybody, we're at the final step of making our cheese. It's the aging process. It is my personal favorite step. The reason why it's my personal favorite step is because you have to do absolutely nothing for a couple of weeks, couple of months, maybe years. Depends on how old you want to make your cheese. In our case right now, we are making a very young cheese, so we age it for about 4 to 6 weeks. But we also have these incredibly delicious old cheeses. And this one that I'm holding right now has been aged for 3 whole years. So that's a pretty long time. So what happens with these old cheeses that doesn't happen with the young ones? It is very simple. So remember when I talked about the salt bath, right? We put the salt bath goes inside of your cheese. We leave them on the wooden shelves for a longer time period. And the longer it lays on the shelves, the more time the salt has to develop on the inside of your cheese. So it'll start to attract all of the moisture out, so it will become more dry. The salt will start to crystallize on the inside as well, which leaves you with these white dots inside of your cheese. And it also becomes very hard, everybody. Which is why you have to be very, very, very careful when you go out in Amsterdam, because the ladies carry these cheeses in their purses, okay? So be careful. So, before we go upstairs, everybody, there's one last thing I want to tell you, and that is if you would like to bring one of our cheeses back home with you, that is of course no problem, because all of our cheeses are safe and sealed to travel with. You can take them back with you in your hand luggage, in your backpack, in your suitcase, whatever, it doesn't matter. Only for the people that are traveling back to Australia, you guys have to pay attention, because our homemade cheeses, they contain raw cow milk. The Australian customs won't allow you to bring back any raw items of foreign countries back across the border, so that's why I don't advise you to bring back the homemade cheese if you're traveling back or to Australia. For now, I want to thank you guys obviously a lot for paying attention and listening to my demonstration. Because you guys are with such a big group today, I want to invite this part of the group to go upstairs that way, and if this part of the group just waits another couple of seconds before I go upstairs, I'll give you guys a sign and you can follow me, okay? Thank you so much for your attention, everybody.
I could stay like this, forever following you.
Nanti aja di rumahnya di sana aja.
Just don't get too far, and I'll be right where you are. You're a dream that I could finally see. I just want to always be.
So this is what I call a Donald Trump house, because it has fake windows. The top left and the top right windows are fake windows, because behind it there is the roof. It's just to make it bigger than it really is. It looks bigger than it really is. Son ventanas falsas. Detrás nada, la techa. Para ser más larga que de verdad es. Y vamos a ver esto muchas veces aquí en Edam. Puedes ver también ver en Amsterdam, pero aquí es más claro porque aquí es más pequeño. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to see.
Tal cual això.
Això.
Això és.
Sí, exacte.
D'això. Ah, només és al mig i és al mig. I els dos que fan, es complementen. O sigui, el tema està en que quan...
Ja no ho tens aquí.
And one from the beginning of the 18th century. Pueden ver dos cosas, las dos casas antiguas principios del siglo XVII, principios del siglo XVIII. And as you can see, there is a difference in style because it's something like fashion in architecture. In the 16th and first half of the 17th century, it was fashionable to build a facade like a step. In the second half of the 17th century and in the 18th century, it was much more fashionable to build it curved. It's like a bell. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Pueden ver estas casas muy diferentes, pero había también la moda en la arquitectura. En el siglo XVI, en la primera mitad del siglo XVII, había la moda como construir como una escalera en la frente. Segunda mitad del siglo XVII y en el siglo XVIII había como una campana, más curvas. Stair-like is older than curved. Okay, let's wait for this car and then we continue. We'll stay here for a couple of minutes. It's kept all this place by its name, and you will see this more often in Amsterdam than. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Amsterdam means dam in the river Amstel. Rotte means dam in the river Rotte. Zaandam means dam in the river Zaan. Edam means dam in the river A. Well, it's more a creek than a river, no, I humble opinion, but nevertheless, this here was a dam as a protection against the sea, and there was a control lock inside to drain the water from the west to the east. Rain was falling everywhere, so it had to drain it at regular intervals to the other to the sea. Señoras y señores, Amsterdam significa dique en el río Amstel. Rotterdam significa dique en el río Rotte. Zaandam, dique en el río Zaan. Y Edam significa dique en el río E. Este es el río E. Es muy pequeño, pero es un río. Y construyeron un dique aquí como protección contra el mar. And it houses two interesting things. El museo ahora, el ayuntamiento, el museo y alberga dos cosas muy interesantes. It houses the shoes of the tallest woman ever lived on this planet, probably. She was, don't get scared, 2 meters 54 centimeters tall, 8 feet 4 tall. And she must have been quite ill because she died when she was 19 years old. And she was already more than 2 meters tall when she was 9 years old. And her shoe size is 55. So, and she died as she lived here, 55. That's huge. That's huge, yes. But poor child, she must have been very sick. Alberga los zapatos de la mujer más alta en la historia mundial. Unos 2 metros y 4 centímetros de altura. Muy enferma probablemente porque murió cuando tenía 19 años. By his neighbor, and the oldest brick house in Edam. It's from the year 1500. La casa de ladrillos más antigua en Edam del año. The water, the level of the groundwater is going up and down. He said, I want to have a cellar that goes up with this groundwater. So actually there is a cellar that goes, that goes really up and down inside the house. So you keep these things dry. So it's a floating cellar. It is quite unique in the world. Esta casa tiene es un casa de la Río Constantina, como he dicho, y alberga un sótano flotante. el constructor tenía secar sus cosas, hay variedades en el nivel del agua subterráneo. Año 1500. Y de verdad, algunas partes aquí enfrente y al este lado son del 500. Son más que 500 años viejas estas partes. En el segundo piso hay partes que son más antiguas porque utilizaron estas partes cuando construyeron esta casa, otro edificio. Entonces del siglo XIV, del siglo XV. So this is from the year 1500, and indeed some parts here in front and some parts here at the side are from the year 1500. So pieces of wood 500 years old. And when they built this house on the second floor, there are parts that are even older because they were reused from another building. When they constructed this house, they used parts from this other house, and so they're even older. Be careful! So, Klaus, where are we now? Where was this square used for? Aquí se usaba esta plaza. Take a good look around, realize where we are. The name of the city? Edam. Famous because of its cheese. Thank you. Yes. But what was this square used for? The place where they stored weight cheeses para pesar los quesos y también era un almacén para los quesos. The farmers outside the city made their cheeses on the farms and they brought it on little boats inside the city and they were sold here. This was the cheese market of Edam. We have the Sterling front, so this must be from the 16th century or the first half of the 17th century. And indeed it is from 1622. So we celebrated its 40th birthday last year. A couple of months ago some people were singing happy birthday dear building, but don't expect it from you now. So, but this, you can say in that one as well, this is old, it's from the 16th or the beginning of the 17th century. Es como una escalera, entonces del siglo XVI o primer mitad del siglo XVII. We're going back to the bus now, which will be there. And there is something very...
Ahora, ¿dónde está la